memory matrices are a type of classroom assessment technique that is often used by instructors so they can determine whether students individually or as a whole can recall key information from a course, while also seeing how they organize the specific information. The instructor creates a table with clear headlines and row titles related to the learning objectives. The boxes that contain the information the students need to understand or memorize are intentionally left blank. The learners can fill this out on their own or during a group activity. As mentioned in Angelo and Cross, the memory matrix allows learners to arrange information and find the connections within the information in the course. This strategy works well in courses that are very content heavy and when that information requires quality grouping or management. An example of this would be veterinary anesthesia in our veterinary technology department, or any other health science type courses. I believe that this could be a beneficial study guide for students when trying to recall details of important learning objectives. I have provided an example of a memory matrix with different anesthetic circuits, how to determine which one is correct for patients of varying sizes, while also knowing what oxygen flow rates are appropriate for each specific circuit listed. This type of CAT can be helpful after a pre-lesson reading or video, but before the actual lesson to identify how much students have understood, or if they have prior knowledge on the topic. It can also be beneficial after a lesson to determine if the learners have grasped the information provided. I think this could also help the instructor assess their own instructional techniques. If many students are not able to complete the matrix, perhaps they require a different instructional style. Since the students are provided with the table, it can limit their own ability to organize the information in a way that works for their type of learning. The memory matrix typically contains elemental material, which can make it difficult for instructors to identify whether the learners obtained this knowledge prior to or during the lesson. The memory matrix requires a small amount of time to prepare, deliver in the classroom, and to evaluate the information collected. Visual learners especially benefit from this type of exercise. I believe that due to the simplicity of the table, it would be a helpful tool for studying because it would be visually pleasing. Due to the matrices' simplicity, this could help the learners become more skillful with recall of data. The table format could also be used to implement group work. This could be beneficial as it can provide an opportunity for weaker students to learn from classmates without the intimidation factor of expressing their lack of understanding in front of an entire classroom. Some best practice strategies will be listed in point form below and are as cited in Angelo and Cross 1993 and MGH 2018. First, you will choose key course information, ensuring that it will work in the matrices style with columns and rows. Next, you will create a memory matrix table with columns and row headings that will align with each other. Create one matrix that is complete with the answers in the empty boxes. You will then create a second version for students that will have empty boxes. You will then assess your matrix to ensure that it is visually appealing and has enough space for the answers. Then, you will ensure the vocabulary aligns with the course content. Next, you will hand out to the students. You will explain the goal of the exercise, including the time for the completion. Mention if there are any expectations such as point form, brief phrases, or a predetermined amount of items per box. Have the students submit the matrices and evaluate their responses. When assessing the responses, track correct versus incorrect answers and watch for any patterns. Use this information to determine if there is a difficulty in a particular area and whether it is student recall or instructional method. Once the data has been assessed and the instructor has determined if it is student recall or the method of instruction that is contributing to their lack of understanding, the instructor can determine how to provide feedback. If it is a method of instruction, they may have to reevaluate the method for that particular lesson. Alternatively, they may identify that more time needs to be given for that particular topic. If it is student recall, especially if there is an obvious topic and the majority of the class is struggling with it, the instructor can initiate a targeted conversation with the class to help promote a better understanding. This could happen at the end of the lesson or at the beginning of the next class. Thank you for your interest in the memory matrix. I hope that you get to use this classroom assessment technique in your own classroom.